bring on the host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs. On today's show, I'm talking about alpha rolls, tracheal collapse, and how to spot a pseudo-sanctuary. Stay right there.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Hi everyone, we're back. It's Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs. And it's been a busy week for me, a very busy week, and I'm going to tell you all about it. We've got lots of things to get to today, and that includes, like I said earlier, alpha rolls, tracheal collapse, and how to spot a pseudo-sanctuary. So here we go. If you are new to the show, or if you are a regular listener, thank you for being here, and there are many ways that you can connect with me on the internet. And so here we go. Our main website is vegasrockdogradio.com, and that's where you'll find, we call it the hub of the show. We're going to actually be changing over to a completely different platform for the show, so we will keep you updated on that. But that's the hub. That's where you'll listen to the show live. So there is a listen live link. There's also the archive shows, and we have two of them. We have Vegas Rock Dog Radio, and you'll see that player, and you also will see Tip of the Day. That's our other show. It's a 30-second show, basically. Each show, I'm calling it a show, it's 30 seconds, is a tip or a trick or a money saver or a little piece of information about being a pet parent and being the best pet parent you can be. So that's where you're going to find that. And when it comes to social media, it's really easy. You're going to find us popping up on Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you like to listen to the show after the show, or you miss a show, you can go to iTunes. You can go to iHeartRadio, which is a very popular app. Or if you use some other kind of podcast catcher app, as they call them, then just search Vegas Rock Dog Radio, and you're going to find the show very, very easily. Now, if you love a giveaway and you love to have a review, an honest review of products, and I look at so many products every single week, lots of products, and I review them based on how I would use a product as a pet parent. And I've got that kind of eye where I go, that could be dangerous. That's not that effective. That'd be a pain to use that. Or, wow, this is amazing. This saves time. Or, wow, never seen that before. So that's the direction I come from and I test out everything that I receive and give you an honest opinion, and it helps you wade through all the products out there. It's a bazillion dollar industry, and there are many products out there, and not all of them are great, and loads of them are fantastic. So where I do these reviews, and often a giveaway with these reviews, is on the blog, therockandrolldog.com. Now, is there anyone else I need to tell you about? Oh, yeah. Our main website for our clothing line is vegasrockdog.com, and that's where you can pick up some rock and roll clothing for you and your pets. So there you go. Just look for us on any platform, and you'll more than likely find us. Oh, we're on Pinterest too. I actually didn't have that on there, but we're on Pinterest and Tumblr and Google Plus and you name it. Please, I don't need anybody inventing any more platforms. That's all I'm saying. I attempted to use the Snapchat. I am savvy when it comes to social media, and I did consult with a few people on their social media. That Snapchat, I'm like, hang on, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? Oh, it made me crazy. All I wanted to was just try those, what do they call them? Those overlays, what do they call them? The overlay where you look like a little deer, or you look like you've got butterflies flying around your head. That's all I was interested in. I don't think I was really that bothered about the app too much, in all honesty. So, like I said, it's been a very busy week, and I attended by invitation to the International Boarding and Pet Services Association, known as IBPSA, and it was their annual industry conference in Vegas. And I met with Beverly of Rocco Media. She's the one that reached out to me to come down to the conference itself. I hopped in a couple of sessions. One of them was an email marketing session. I met some very funny board members and really enjoyed having lunch with them, and then spent some time with Beverly, and it was a great day. It really is a great day. And really what this conference is about is anyone that's in boarding and pet services. So pet sitter, boarding, daycare, those kind of things, and putting some industry standards together. And a lot of it is based around safety, of course, and that's really important when we're hiring those kinds of services. We want to make sure that who we're working with knows what they're doing and has their safety at the forefront of their businesses. So that was really, really fun. Now, part of that is that they announced that they're going to be offering the very first independent certification exam for pet care services, and that's in November, and that is called the Professional Animal Care Certification Council. Thank goodness we're abbreviating it to PACCC, and it's founded to increase pet safety and spread the word to pet parents about knowledgeable, educated pet care providers. It's great. It's wonderful. So that was fun. And by the way, Beverly named her business after one of her pets, Rocco. Love that. Here's another fun update. Oh, thank you so much, everybody, for coming out to the Chrysler Chapman Jeep Pamper Your Pet Day. It really was a fantastic day. And they said the most attended one they've had. It was their third year. So it's growing each year. And I worked with Quillen PR firm, public relations. They are a dream to work with, I have to tell you. They are so up to date on what's going on in public relations and adopting every method you can imagine. PR has changed a lot. You know, it's way beyond press releases and getting someone on red carpet and radio interview. They're managing their social media, they're managing their YouTube videos, you name it. They're doing it for their clients right now. And Quillen is one of those incredible PR firms that's doing that. Dream to work with, so professional. And I hope to work with them a lot more in the future. Now, a lot of people did miss the event because we have so many events this time of year, and they were booked on other events. So after seeing all the great videos and the Facebook Live and the giveaways that we did, the bake sale, which was so delicious, a lot of people said, oh my gosh, we need to come next year. So if you are someone who just wants to come down with your pets and be in the Halloween costume contest, which, let me tell you something, you've heard that song Midnight Creeks and Out Come the Freaks. So it was like, 12 noon creeks and out came every pet in a Halloween costume. I don't know where they came from. It was packed. And the Ewoks won, and the Boston Terrier with the Boston baked beans on his back won. I mean, he literally had a jar of them. It's hilarious. So it was a really fun afternoon. The Chrysler Chapman Jeep, love animals, believe in animal rescue. They raised money for our local Henderson shelter, which was wonderful, and really happy about that. Great vendors, and if you're a vendor, make sure that you get hold of me and we'll put you on the list for next year. Don't miss out. A lot of my vendors were at other events, and I wish we'd have been at your event. So I hope that's the case. And as soon as I get a date, you'll be able to put it on your calendar. But fun times, great photos. They're on our Facebook page if you want to check them out. Here's another update, and it is good news. I love the good news stuff that we put out there. A couple of weeks ago, you'll remember on the show, I talked about not supporting these animal attractions when you go on vacation. You book online, and next thing you know, they're saying, do you want to do the elephant ride? Do you want to do selfies with tigers and those kind of things? And the reason I talked about that is because there's so much hidden abuse. And of course, you can ask those companies and check their websites out, and they all look very lovely, and they'll say they're a sanctuary, and more often than not, they are not. It is not normal for elephants to have people on their backs and tigers to lie down cheek to cheek with you and have pictures. So you can ask, and they're going to say they're a sanctuary and well taken care of. You can go to the website, and the hype will be on there, and you will not see this hidden abuse, and it's terrible. So I really wanted to get the word out about this, and why I'm so against animals for entertainment and profit. It's not what they were put on this earth for. It's not what they were put on this earth for, and it's a terrible, terrible life. And you might have fun for 15 minutes on the back of an elephant, but they have a lifetime of pain and abuse and sadness because they don't get to live as they should. So here's the update. TripAdvisor agrees to stop selling tickets to cruel wildlife tourist attractions. Loved to see that headline. Riding on the back of elephants is a popular tourist activity in Thailand and other Asian countries. I picked this up from, I don't know whose website this was, but it's a great piece of news. TripAdvisor has announced it will stop the promotion of these attractions that fail to meet animal welfare guidelines. The travel website will no longer sell tickets for activities like elephant rides, tiger petting, or swimming with dolphins, any type of attraction which involves physical contact with captive wild animals or endangered species. And the policy will affect both TripAdvisor and its sister company, and I think that is pronounced Viator, and is expected to hit hundreds of operators. Now, bear in mind, they do make money from this. So I think it's a very good step in the right direction. TripAdvisor also plans to launch an educational portal where travelers can learn about related issues from a number of animal welfare organizations. This, I think, is so valuable. And there are other things you can learn about on this entire, news piece, and that is that tourist fun is not fun for animals. Say no to the monkey selfie. Elephant riding and tiger selfie is the cruelest animal tourist attractions, and they are, and so on and so forth. There's plenty of information there. Now, the World Animal Protection, they welcomed the movement, and they said they love what TripAdvisor is doing, but they still had further to go. Now, as many of you know from listening to the show, I prefer progress over perfection, because sometimes some people dig their heels in, and if it's not exactly what they want, then nothing happens. So I'm a big proponent of let's do something and let's start propelling this forward in the right direction. Now, CEO Stephen Kofer said the new booking policy was a means to do our part in helping improve the health and safety standards of animals. The shift came after research and consultation with animal welfare groups like PETA and Oxford University's Wildlife Conservation Research Unit, and of course WAP, World Animal Protection. And by refusing to sell tickets to businesses that treat animals as entertainment or playthings, TripAdvisor is making a precedent-setting statement about the use and abuse of animals for entertainment. PETA Executive Vice President, and that is Tracy Ryman. Now, more than 558,000 supporters signed that WAP protection petition this year, calling upon TripAdvisor to stop profiting from cruel wildlife tourist attractions. And usually when one does it and they start to get praise for it, you'll see another one hop on board. So I'm hoping we have more news, down the road. WAP of New Zealand their campaign manager, Nicola Bainan, said, while the announcement was significant, certain venues involving cruel entertainment would still be bookable. The new policy did not apply to attractions using domestic animals such as horseback riding, nor did it affect aquarium, touch pools, or zoo feeding programs. We hope it will only be a matter of time before TripAdvisor will also come to realize that it has to end sales to all cruel wildlife attractions such as SeaWorld, where the animals endure a lifetime of abuse and highly stressful training to perform. And until then, we will provide the best education we can on TripAdvisor's website to steer people away from cruel venues like these. And that is Nicola Bainan saying this. And while TripAdvisor will stop selling some attractions immediately, the changes will not be fully implemented till 2017. So let's hope that's January. And it's a start, and it will get people thinking and making better choices when it comes to choosing what you want to do on vacation. Great news, as I say, going in the right direction. You just can't beat that, can you, really? Well, on that note, we should probably, because that was a lot of an update, wasn't it? Big update. Let's take a quick break and let's listen to some words from our very supportive sponsors. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
At Carl's Jr., not only do we make you happy with our delicious charbroil burgers, but we also make your dogs happy. When you come through our drive-thru with your furry friend, we'll offer your dog a treat. If not, always ask for one. We love to see their smiling faces. Our website, Carl's Jr. of LasVegas.com, has a treat for its customers too, with free coupons anytime, so be sure to visit us regularly. Carl's Jr. is a proud and active supporter of dog adoption in our community. You can find us at Carl's Jr. of Las Vegas or on Twitter at Carl's Jr. of Vegas.
Welcome to Barking Dogs Self-Wash and Grooming, your one-stop shop for all of your pet's needs. We offer premium natural pet foods, full-service grooming, and an on-site bakery and boutique. You can choose to self-wash your dog or schedule a luxury pampering with our professional groomers. Our new Cool Cat section offers feline food, toys, bedding, and litter, while the adventurous dog department has everything you need for your outdoor activities. Cody's Healing Garden is a special place featuring flower, aromatherapy, and herbal remedies for pets. Ask us about Karma Connection, our program supporting animal rescue. Find us at barkingdogslv.com and look for us on Facebook and Twitter. We look forward to seeing you at Barking Dogs Self-Wash and Grooming.
Let's bring on the host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Welcome back, everyone. So, I have, this made me laugh actually this morning because I think you invite a lot of commentary when you actually post on Facebook Saturday's pet peeve. Got to be careful there. You never quite know the kind of responses that you will get. Anyway, the Reisner Veterinary Services Facebook page, they put out their Saturday's pet peeve, and their website is Reisner Vet Behavior, and that's ReisnerVetBehavior.com. ReisnerVetBehavior.com. I'll put this up on Facebook for you guys. And Saturday's pet peeve, the alpha roll. Maybe a sandwich, but never a training technique. Oh, this is how it started this morning. And I agree with them. Forcing your dog onto his back in order to assert that you are the boss, to punish the dog, to teach the puppy to submit, or any other reason is one of the great fallacies of dog training that just won't go away. Although the dominance-based training culture is fading, and it is, and I'm glad it is, I continually encounter dog owners who have been advised to do this to pets of all ages, including those bewildered little puppies and anxious adult rescues. As it is often the case, owners are following the bad advice they've been given, and I would like to add to that, and what they've seen on TV. I'm going to add that in there. And the alpha roll, or dominance pin, this is interesting, was originally described as a dog punishment maneuver by the monks of New Skeet in their first book, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. And it's how not to be your dog's best friend. Anyway, they later retracted their promotion of this technique. Yay! Because obviously they realized, and maybe read some science, it doesn't work and it's actually more detrimental to your pet. Anyway, based on the unnatural conflicts observed between unrelated wolves in close captivities, how they came up to, to decide to remove that. We know that when a person alpha rolls his dog, he's increasing the likelihood that the dog will bite him, which quickly spirals only downwards. On some nice autumn day, they said, after a good walk with your dog, leave your dog at home, grab a large latte, and head over to the nearest dog park because you're going to do some observing. And they call it the great theatre for watching canine behavior in the dog park. And you'll notice that lying down and rolling on the side or on their backs are behaviors that are offered by dogs during times of tension, such as being charged or met with a growl by a grumpy individual. And this is a dog's clear way of saying, please stop, I don't want any trouble, or even, let's put the kibosh on this, let's do something else. And it's usually followed by the charging dog having a sniff, then running off, followed by the upside down dog, who is now relieved, like, oh, thank God for that, and sometimes joining in the fun. Like they said here, it's a behavior that dogs offer. They offer it. We don't impose that on them. that's really, really important because this is their kind of communication, the type of communication. Now, if someone suggests rolling on your dog onto his back as punishment, grab your dog's lead and run. Don't walk, and just get out of there. It's scary, random, and often painful, and teaches the dog only that your behavior makes no sense. The alpha roll might be a good name for a snack to share with your dog, but not a physical correction to do to your dog. There are kinder, more humane, and sensible ways to interact and train that are actually based in the science of canine behavior. And as I was saying a little bit earlier, and I'm not going to mention this person's name because I don't like to give this person publicity, but there's a show on TV, and the alpha role is the dominance pin is very prevalent, and it's a terrible technique. And if you actually can read body language, you're going to see a dog look fearful, and when they're fearful, they're either going to really submit, and it's a terrible thing to see, or they're going to bite. And they're to protect themselves and say, back off, leave me alone. And you will have seen that in this TV show. And it is not a training technique that you want to adopt. And if you're actually using it, just stop doing it. It's not effective. And you're not improving your bond and communication with your dog. Think about it this way. I don't know. You did something, I don't know, you had an argument with somebody and they think that you're being naughty, so they want to take you down, and they're going to take your legs from underneath you and roll you on your side and now pin you down. How are you going to feel? You're going to go, whoa, where did that come from? And wow, I'm going to fight back. You're not doing this to me. So the alpha roll needs to roll on out. Roll it out of your training. It needs to go. Bye-bye. So that was their Saturday pet peeve. Can you imagine if you just wrote Saturday pet peeve as a status update? Oh my gosh. Can you imagine what people would say underneath? I'm not even going to try it. We don't need it. We've got a lot going on in this show today, I have to say. We're hoping we get everything in because we're a good 24 minutes into the show already. But some really, really great, interesting stuff, informative, that hopefully is going to help you a lot. And so then one of those next things I want to discuss is something you hear often, and that is tracheal collapse in dogs. And this is a great article from the Critical Care DVM website, and that's criticalcaredvm.com. The page it was actually shared from was the veterinary specialist clinic here in town. In Vegas, and if you don't know about this clinic, it's rather amazing. They do some pretty serious surgeries with great outcomes, and they're a wonderful rehab facility as well. And I've seen their work firsthand, and they're incredible people, and they must be very proud of their work with the success that they have, particularly after surgeries for dachshunds, because I used to work closely with the dachshund rescue here in town, and often you hear about them having back problems and needing back surgeries, and literally, and friends of mine with their dachshunds have woke up and their dog's back end was not working and not moving, and they've fully rehabbed, some of them without surgery. Brilliant facility. Anyway, they shared this article on their website, and it's about the tracheal collapse in dogs. And chronic coughing is a frequent health concern of dog parents. In a previous blog, they discussed the most common signs of this in dogs, and one of those things is chronic bronchitis. And that's another reason why dogs cough habitually, as well as tracheal collapse. And this week, they decided they would tackle this condition. And so what is it? What is tracheal collapse? Well, the trachea of dogs, also called the windpipe, is a long, flexible tube of cartilage and muscle that connects the mouth to the lower airways of the lungs. So that's your bronchi. And part of the trachea is in the neck, and that's the cervical trachea. And another part is inside the chest cavity, and that's the thoracic trachea. And the transitional point from neck to chest cavity is called the thoracic inlet. And that cartilage is a C shape with the open part facing upwards. And in some dogs, this cartilage weakens and it flattens, resulting in the collapse of the trachea and causing airway compromise. And the most common point of collapse is at the level of the thoracic inlet. And the degree of collapse is variable, and veterinarians do grade that collapse. So you've got grade 1 at 25% collapse, Grade 2, 50. Grade 3, 75. And grade 4 is 100% collapse. And so because of these grades, they can, once they can diagnose, they can then treat according to the actual grade itself. And occasionally, some of the lower airways, specifically the bronchi, can currently collapse with the trachea. So the tracheal collapse may occur in any dog, but some breeds are definitely overrepresented, and they are Yorkshire Terriers, Chihuahuas, Pomeranians, and miniature poodles. Now, the clinical signs frequently associated with this collapse include, there's quite a few things, a dry, non-productive cough that sounds like a goose honk, coughing with excitement when picked up or when pressure is applied to the neck, exercise intolerance, a click-like noise heard when exhaling, difficulty breathing, fainting, collapsing, and wheezing when inhaling. So lots of audio cues there. If you hear something that's unusual, then you need to pay attention and maybe need to pay a visit to the veterinarian. Now, tracheal collapse is typically documented in middle-aged to older dogs. Now, how you're going to determine that is if you kind of know the breed of your dog. For example, Dachshunds will live 17, 18, 19 years old. Then their middle age is going to be around about that 8, 9, 10 mark. And if you have a breed that lives a shorter lifespan, then it's going to be much younger than that. And this is where people get quite confused as to when middle-aged or senior, they move into their middle-aged or senior years in life. But young patients are affected too. Now, overweight and obese dogs, as well as those exposed to secondhand smoke, also will show some clinical signs of this. That's another reason to give up smoking, don't you think? Actually, a lot of rescues will not adopt into a home that smokes because it does affect them in a very bad way, and anyone else in your family too. Now, tracheal collapse, how is it diagnosed? How do we know this? Well, of course, now you may have a clue by some of the sounds that you hear and this coughing. Now, your veterinarian will recommend some non-invasive or minimally invasive tests to diagnose the degree of the collapse. And initially, x-rays are obtained in an attempt to make a definitive diagnosis as well as to screen for other potential causes. Because it could be something else. It could well be something else. And pet parents should remember tracheal collapse is fundamentally a dynamic process, and thus the trachea isn't always collapsed, except in severe cases. So it could be just a partial collapse. And a radiograph is essentially a single picture taken at a specific point in time. And if the picture is captured when the trachea is collapsed, then the veterinarian is able to make a definitive diagnosis. However, if the X-ray image is obtained when it isn't collapsed at that moment, the X-ray won't be that fruitful, and additional testing will need to occur, which is, hopefully you never have to go to the next step. And when radiographs don't provide that definitive diagnosis, your vet will likely refer you to a board-certified veterinary internal medicine specialist for further testing, and some advanced diagnostic imaging will be recommended, and they can include two of these. The fluoroscopy or fluoroscopy. The fluoroscopy. This is a live-action radiograph that's obtained while an awake patient breathes normally, and the tracheoscopy, and this is a minimally invasive image testing performed while a patient is anesthetized. So when they're put underneath. Anesthetized. You see, I don't have Jim here today to do my translations for you, for my US listeners and my across the pond listeners. Anyway, that is a small fiber optic camera. It's inserted into the trachea to give the best detail of the tube, and fluid samples can easily be obtained for analysis during the procedure. Now, how do we treat this? Now, like I said, a lot of this is based on the degree of collapse that they come up with. And there are many ways that they can address this. I say it's chronic, it's progressive, it is irreversible. And accordingly, it is one that is initially treated medically, but with progression, it will more than likely require surgical management. And the hallmarks of medical management include medications to reduce your frequency and severity of the coughing, reduce anxiety, because I can imagine that's rather high when you are coughing and you can't breathe. Maintenance of an ideal body weight, medications to reduce airway inflammation, mucus production and spasms, avoidance of secondhand smoke and other environmental airway irritants. And some patients with collapse develop severe respiratory distress and require emergency veterinary care. And thankfully, almost 3/4 of collapsed patients will positively respond to medical management, particularly those with grade 1 and 2. That's good news. And with time, tracheal collapse does progress and fails to respond to medical interventions. And for such patients, the surgical management is where they're going to go. And it involves typically placing a stent inside the trachea or plastic rings outside of it to hold it open. And approximately 90 to 95% of patients who receive the tracheal stents immediately marked improvement, while approximately 75% of patients improve after surgical placement of rings. That's very good. It's very positive. And so here's their takeaway message from tracheal collapse in dogs. The trachea or windpipe in dogs is a tube of cartilage and muscle. Occasionally, the cartilage weakens and collapses, resulting in chronic coughing and potentially respiratory distress. A combination of physical examination findings and diagnostic image studies is used to confirm the diagnosis, and then initial treatment is medical in nature, aimed at reducing the coughing, the frequency of it, the severity, reducing airway inflammation, and minimizing that anxiety. And as tracheal collapse progresses, surgical intervention will be necessary. And partnering with board-certified veterinary internal medicine specialists, that's a long title, and board-certified veterinary surgeons can be instrumental in ensuring an efficient diagnosis process and developing an effective treatment. So if you think, we know our pets very well, so when there's something out of the norm, and if you do hear some of those symptoms and observe some of those symptoms, make your way over to the vet. Never substitute anything you hear on my show or anybody's show for actual medical advice from your veterinarian and other specialists. It's very easy for us to go on Google and we try and diagnose ourselves, to find out what's wrong with us. And, it's probably not the best thing. Do the same for your pets. Actually go to the professionals. And if you think that this might be one of the issues, just know there are treatments and they are successful. So there you go. I think what we'll do is take one more break, and then we've got some other things to talk about, like how to identify a good animal sanctuary. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Pet Scene Magazine is dedicated to Las Vegas pets and the people who love them. It's a source of news and information for pet lovers, as well as offering valuable coupons and specials on pet products and services. Find them online at www.lvpetscene.com or look for them on Facebook.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome back, everyone. Just before the break, I was saying that we're going to talk about identifying good animal sanctuaries, and it ties in with the animal attraction tourism that we talked about earlier, and how you would try and figure out if they are indeed a sanctuary. So here we go. The International Fund Animal Welfare Organization, and that is the IFAW.org. That's their website. They support animal sanctuaries by themselves actually moving big cats into real sanctuaries. And so there's a criteria that they have to meet. Now, apparently, they have helped with an organization here in Nevada called Safe Haven Rescue Zoo. Now, I'm not aware of them. I'm not sure if they are in my area or not. I mean, Nevada's kind of a big state. So it's funny because everybody just thinks it's Las Vegas here, pretty much, and Reno. And that's Nevada for you. Kind of is, well, we're the biggest ones anyway. But I will check them out. But they've worked with them, and they have directed big rescue cats to them the IFAW. Now, of course, we all love to support animals in general, whether it's through a rescue, a shelter, or a sanctuary. And we do that by either visiting, donating, or just simply sharing their information on social media and promoting some kind of awareness. And it is a very, very fulfilling experience for any animal lover. I mean, it just is. It feels good. It feels good. We can all help in so many different ways. We don't have to necessarily be on the front lines of animal rescue. Sometimes it's not feasible. Sometimes some people can't deal with it emotionally, but they help in other ways. But no doubt, no matter how you help, it does feel very, very good. But you want to know that whatever you do for an organization is for a good organization. There's tons of them out there, and they obviously always show the glowing side, always. But it's not always glowing, as we talked about earlier. And there are some amazing welfare organizations that are just like, oh my gosh, if people ask me, who's the best this, who's the best that, I go, yeah, go to them, go to them, go to them, go to them. Avoid this one, this one, this one, this one. Because not all of them are great. They're really not. And it can be for many reasons. I mean, of course, most organizations all come from a good place. Sometimes they get mismanaged. Sometimes they get overwhelmed. Sometimes they operate from guilt when they don't have the money, and then they take animals in, and then they're in a bad situation. And we just had that happen here in Las Vegas. I want to say they pulled over 500 animals. Now, they were saying it's a hoarding situation. I don't know what the full scope of this was. I think they were calling themselves some kind of a sanctuary of some kind, not one that I knew of, in a strange part of town, without the proper facilities. Everything from, they had wolves in cages, they had some kind of a fox in a cage whose paw was caught in the wire and it's not been able to move. They had cats and dogs, guinea pigs, snakes. They had an owl in a bathroom, goats. I think there were a ton of horses, a lot of animals. Now, I just caught it briefly on the news and I have to look into it, but I think they had to euthanize some of them because they were in poor conditions. They were not fed. They were starving. They were filthy. I don't know what these two ladies were up to. I really don't know. I've never really seen a situation where you have more than one hoarder. So I don't know what that situation was. I'm really not sure. But the two of them, it's a lot of animals and a lot of animals suffering. And I'll follow up on that. But that's another one of those things, Sometimes, a website can look very slick and, you think, oh my gosh, they're amazing work. And then you find out they're in terrible, disgusting conditions, and they don't have the welfare of the animals at the forefront of their organization. So say first impressions can be very, very misleading. Like I said, it can all look very shiny and new unicorns and rainbows, but sadly there are lots of pseudo-sanctuaries out there, and they're very good at deceiving you. Basically, their marketing can be so good. I mean, so good. And then they're equally as good at hiding abuse and the not so good side of their organizations. Now, pseudo sanctuaries, they buy and they breed animals and they claim to be rescues. They may even try to convince you that their breeding program is providing a conservation service, which is probably not, and that they may rescue, quotation marks, animals only to sell them later for profit after they've earned whatever they can from them. And that happens a lot too. They use animals up to make money until they're in such terrible shape, terrible health, and then often we'll just have them euthanized or just sell them off. It's terrible. Animals are just not, they're just not products, are they? They're just not products. So the article goes on to say that some of these could be well-intentioned and they're just not able to provide adequate care for their animals because they're overextended. So you really have to kind of dig deep a little bit. But if it was me, I really would like to know if my money's going to the right place and for the right reasons. And so who do you trust? Who do you trust? And so this article on IFAW, they said part of their job is to work with big cat sanctuaries across the United States. They assess the sanctuary, and it's quite a long and complex list of interrelated factors to assess and to determine if a sanctuary looks up to snuff. And a determination can never be decisively made without at least one site visit. They should increase that visit size. That's what I think. Hey, you know what? You can clean it up for the one visit, can't you? You can clean it all up and make it look great for the one visit, but I think surprise visits would be a good thing. They said, "Oh gosh, do we expect you to go through this whole pinpoint, of points on the list?" And she said, "No," but they found a few questions that you can ask and red flags to look for on sanctuary websites and social media to help you become more informed about your decisions on who you're going to visit and who your money goes to. And she says you can guarantee that this will help you detect every she can't guarantee it will help you detect every pseudo-sanctuary, but it should help you and avoid the most egregious offenders and keep you on alert to potential problems. I was invited to a sanctuary, and yeah, the marketing was fantastic. The website amazing. Everything they told me sounded just phenomenal. Yet when I got there, it was they were selling a lot of tickets to pet animals, photos with animals, and that was not for me a true sanctuary. What I want to support. So I was not happy. I was not happy about that. But on the surface, it looked great until I actually went down there, and it was a whole different story. Not that they weren't taken care of. They were certainly taking care of the animals. But I don't believe in animals being used for entertainment and profit. I really don't. A sanctuary is a safe haven where they get to relax and be themselves. Now, here are the questions. Are they a non-profit organization? Here in the US, it's called a 501c3. I know a lot about 501c3s. This does not guarantee that they are fantastic people, but it does tell you that they can legally take donations. And that's important. Check them out. So easy to find them. Just go to the IRS website. Anyone can slap that on their website, but go to the actual IRS website and check out if they are listed. That way they can officially take donations. Now, do they provide a place of refuge only for abused, neglected, unwanted, impounded, abandoned, orphaned, or displaced wildlife in need of lifetime care? Do they use animals for any commercial purposes? Do they buy, sell, trade, auction, lease, or loan animals? Do they allow or encourage breeding of their animals, except as part of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums and Species Survival Plan? And that's called the AZA or the SSP. If they allow public visits, is it an educational message delivered? Is it I would like to expand upon that. Are they using the educational message as a way to make money? You see how that can be? Like, oh, we'll just say this for education and we'll get away with it. And people think, well, wonderful. So you've got to think about that too. You've got to really think about that. And you know what? And instincts tell you a lot. They really do. If you see something that's odd, it's odd. That's important. Follow your gut as well. Do they allow public visits? Do they allow public contact with the wild animals? Photographs, swimming with dolphins, paint with a dolphin, all those kind of things. And do they take their animals off property except for medical necessities or emergencies? Are they taking them to pumpkin patches? Are they taking ponies down there that walk around for hours on end with kids on their backs strapped to a metal cartwheel type thing? We've got lots of those popping up right now. And again, I'm contacting the city one more time to tell them it's frowned upon and it is not acceptable. And we are not showing ourselves as a city who loves animals. And I can't bear to see that. I really cannot bear to see that. You also want to ask, are they accredited by GFAS, which is the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, or the ASS, American Sanctuary Association, WAZA or AZA. You didn't know I spoke another language, did you? That's WAZA and the AZA. There is a true sanctuary in the United States that I follow, and I think they're phenomenal. And that's the Animal Sanctuary in Tennessee. Elephant and Tennessee probably should not be in the same sentence. But there is a sanctuary that is a true sanctuary knocking my mic there, in Tennessee. And in the way that it is a refuge, you cannot buy a ticket to go and see them. You cannot ride them. You cannot ogle them. You cannot take loads of pictures of them. They are truly living their lives out in peace and in a beautiful environment They have the Indian and the African elephants separated because they're very knowledgeable and they know how that needs to go. And it is acres upon acres upon acres, the most glorious countryside I've ever seen. And I know of I can't even speak now. I know of it very well. And I know it very well because I lived in Nashville, Tennessee. And here's an interesting story about elephants, Tennessee, and me and my husband. So, and I digress a little bit, but it's just a great story. We were in Nashville for a pet conference, and we were married in Nashville, so we decided that we would go to the chapel where we got married and take pictures. Well, it was closed, and there was just the two of us, so we tried to do selfies, and another couple rolled up. We assumed that it was the same for them, and yes, it was. And we said, "Hey, do you want us to take your pictures for you?" And they said, "Oh, thank you, and we'll do the same for you." So that's really nice of you. And they said, "Hey, you're visiting," got the accent thing. I said, "Actually, I used to live here. I'm here for a pet conference." And I said, "You guys from Nashville?" And they said, "Actually, we're in Hohenwald." And we're like, "Oh, we know Hohenwald." And they almost fainted because no one knows Hohenwald. Tiny little place, tiny, tiny. And Jim used to teach music in Hohenwald, so we chit-chatted about that. And I said, oh yeah, I said, because that's where the elephant sanctuary is. And the lady said, "My husband has a connection with the sanctuary." And I said, "Oh, what is that?" And she said he was the person that drove one of the elephants, and I've forgotten the elephant's name, from the circus in Florida to retire at the elephant sanctuary in Hohenwald. And he was the guy that drove the elephant to its freedom. And she told me to get on YouTube and find the link, and it was fantastic. And I'm stood here with this guy, and everybody's crying on this video, and he said it was an incredible feeling to drive an elephant to absolute freedom. And I was just, oh, what an amazing moment. What an amazing moment. Now, I unfortunately did not plan enough time ahead to actually schedule an appointment to meet with the people of the sanctuary. Now they're very closed. You just don't show up, and they do once in a while these big fundraisers, and but there's no buying tickets, I say, and it's not an attraction, it's a sanctuary. And if you're ever in that area, if they've got one of their special events going on, which don't happen very often, but it's mainly for fundraising, then definitely check them out, or at least check them out online. You'll love it. See those elephants. Yeah, wow, just roaming free. It's amazing. So I think that's that really it was just a great story. It was a really great story. So not too difficult to check out whether a sanctuary is a real deal sanctuary, and it'll be worth it. You'll feel so good about that. Now, I think, have we covered everything today? There always seems to be so much to cover in every single show. Just so many great things. I think we did. We've covered the tracheal collapse in dogs, how to identify a pseudo-sanctuary, and all those great updates that we had with TripAdvisor, and just some of the fun stuff I've been involved in. Now we're rolling towards the end of the year now. It's gone far too quickly for me. Worked very, very hard, and it's not over yet. I've got 4 more fundraisers. Last week we did Shrimpy Fest, and we also did Pamper Your Pet Day. They were both in the same day. That was a whole day of fundraising, and it was a fantastic day. We've got a couple of photo fundraisers coming up, and that is photographs of your pets. So check out my Facebook page for the update on that. And then we are involved in the Will Edwards Show Day, as they have chosen Rocking for Rescues, who I am a member on the board there, to benefit from the Will Edwards Show Day. That's coming up. And then, I can't fully reveal it, but I'm working on a great show in December, a one night for animal rescue with someone famous that you'll probably know, and I can't reveal it just yet until he puts out the information. It should be within the week. So lots to go on before the year closes out, and 2017 is looking really, really good for Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Really good for Vegas Rock Dog Radio. So Well, I think we've come to the end of the show, finally. It's a lot, but I like to give you as much as I possibly can and what's current and what's happening in the world. And so that's why we try and jam it all in today. And it's fun to be able to do that for everybody. So remember, you can help an animal in need. Either rescue, adopt, donate, volunteer, or share their information. Rescue your next family member. Replace the word shop with adopt. And be kind to all animals. I want to thank you for listening in today. And if you get the chance and you find me on one of those social media platforms, please share pictures of your pets with me. I do love to see them. And you've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, where it is all about our pets, people, and pop culture. I'm your host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. And always kiss your pets good morning and good night. And I will see you next time.
You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.